Ringo was an idol who performed under the stage name Yuka Kusakabe. That day, Ringo held a concert with an amazing performance. She sang to entertain all of her fans with incredible energy and talent. After finishing her song, she greeted everyone warmly. She thanked her fans for making her feel like the happiest person in the world. Her fans called Ringo the sweetest girl in the universe. Ringo felt deeply touched when she heard everyone cheering her name. At that moment, Ringo introduced someone in front of her fans. A young man walked onto the stage and approached her. Ringo said that he was the person who made her the happiest girl in the universe. The young man slowly leaned closer and gave Ringo a gentle kiss. Unexpectedly, the entire scene was only a dream. A boy named Kozaku suddenly woke up from his sleep and shouted that he loved Ringo. He could not believe that the beautiful moment with Ringo had only been a dream. Wakadana looked confused by Kozaku's strange behavior right after waking up. That wonderful dream caused Kozaku to arrive late at the agricultural school. Minori was confused by his behavior. At the time, Kozaku was picking leaves together with Minori and Kei. Minori asked why Kozaku wanted so badly to go to Tokyo, and she wondered what he wanted to do there. With great confidence, Kozaku proudly declared that he wanted to become a trendy farmer. Minori laughed at his dream. According to her, a village boy like Kozaku was better suited to marrying a country girl and spending his entire life as a farmer. Kozaku immediately rejected that idea because he wanted to become a trendy farmer together with the idol Yuka. Kozaku dreamed about planting rice in Harajuku and raising cows in Roppongi. According to him, the only country girl around his age was Minori herself. Hearing that comment made Minori blush. Kei firmly told both of them to stop fooling around and get back to work. Kozaku apologized while Minori became annoyed because Kei had scolded her because of him. Kozaku felt irritated after hearing that. Suddenly, someone shouted that a cow had escaped from the barn. A loud commotion broke out around the livestock area. Kozaku wondered why another animal had escaped again. Before this, a peacock and even a goat had also escaped. Minori told everyone picking leaves to continue working, but the cow suddenly ran toward the fields. Kei told everyone to stop the cow before it entered their garden area. Kakizaki quickly stepped forward to block the animal. He had once participated in a national wrestling tournament, so everyone believed he could stop the cow. Unfortunately, Kakizaki was thrown far away, and the cow seemed to possess monstrous strength. Kozaku asked Kei what they should do next. Suddenly, Minori took off her red shirt and handed it to Kozaku, telling him to run while waving it around. Minori's face turned bright red with embarrassment before she quickly ran away. The cow became interested in the red cloth in Kozaku's hand and immediately chased after him. Kozaku ran with all his strength while desperately avoiding the cow. Later in class, Kozaku still looked exhausted. He said that being chased by the cow had been terrifying. He held Wakadana in his arms and claimed that only Wakadana had been worried about him. That day, Kei brought up the career survey assignment. Kozaku asked whether Kei planned to attend college. Kei said he was still thinking about it, though he was likely going to apply to an agricultural university. Kozaku felt jealous of Kei. He explained that he only enrolled in the school because his parents were farmers and he had simply followed that path. Hearing that surprised Minori, and she asked whether Kozaku had actually been serious about his dream of becoming a trendy farmer. Kozaku answered that his real goal was Furufushi High School itself. Kei commented that it was probably the first time he had ever seen a high school student write high school as a future career path. Minori called Kozaku an idiot. Kozaku became confused when Kei and Minori stared at him strangely. Kei then asked whether Kozaku truly liked the idol Yuka that much. He wondered what was so special about her. Kozaku passionately explained that his idol had beautiful round eyes, small lips like a cute duck, cheeks as red as apples, a lovely feminine voice, beautiful hair, and adorable eyebrows. Kei told Kozaku to stop talking about it, but Kozaku continued saying that her smile looked incredibly sincere. Hearing all of that made Minori annoyed, and she kicked him. She told Kozaku to seriously think about his career survey instead. Kozaku then asked whether Minori had already finished filling out hers. He wondered whether she planned to work or continue studying in college. Embarrassed, Minori quietly admitted that she wanted to work in an office someday. Kozaku quickly grabbed Minori's survey sheet and read her answers out loud. Her dream was to become a bride, a wife, and a homemaker. Kozaku and Kei immediately laughed at her answer. Kozaku called Minori foolish. However, Minori argued that she was not foolish at all because being a homemaker was still an important full-time job. Not long after that, a girl named Kacho came over to scold Kozaku and the others for being so loud. She even called them a bunch of country bumpkins. Minori and Kozaku responded by teasing Kacho with a nickname that annoyed her right away. Feeling irritated, Kacho walked into the classroom while bringing along her beloved cow. She called everyone their noisy country kids who could not stop causing trouble. Kacho could not understand how they were all from Class 2A in the production department. Yet Kozaku and the others were in the farming division, which she considered the weaker side of production. Meanwhile, Kacho was an honor student in the livestock division. Because of that, she believed their status was completely different. Kacho complained that Kozaku and the others always caused a scene without paying attention to the people around them, and she criticized their behavior as thoughtless. Minori refused to stay quiet and pointed out that bringing a cow into the classroom was not exactly a smart thing to do either. Kacho immediately argued that Agehago was no ordinary cow. According to her, Agehago was a prestigious premium beef cow with the highest ranking and an incredibly bright future ahead. Kozaku casually commented that the cow probably cost around $20 per 100 grams of meat. Kacho then proudly revealed that Agehago's actual value was worth millions of yen. The moment Kozaku heard that number, he quickly stepped aside to give the cow plenty of room. Minori could not believe how fast Kozaku switched sides and wondered who he was really supporting. She grabbed Kozaku firmly by the collar, making him apologize to her over and over again. Kacho suddenly became nervous when Kei called out to her. Kei explained that cows were gentle animals and were usually sensitive to fear and panic around people. In his opinion, bringing a cow into such a loud and chaotic classroom was not a good idea. Kacho responded by saying that Kei was just as foolish as everyone else. Kei looked genuinely surprised after hearing that from her. Kacho then explained that she had realized earlier that morning that Agehago's mentality was still immature. That was exactly why she brought the cow to class for training. Kei admitted that when it came to livestock knowledge and passion, he probably could not compare to Kacho at all. Hearing such honest praise immediately made Kacho blush and panic. She quickly told Kei to stop talking to her like that. Trying to hide her embarrassment, Kacho laughed and called Kei a country boy. A moment later, their teacher walked into the classroom and greeted everyone cheerfully. Her name was Natsumi and she looked incredibly excited to enter Class 2A. She openly said how happy she was and greeted all the students with a huge smile on her face. Not long after that, Minori suddenly called out to Ms. Natsumi. Acting playful as usual, Natsumi asked whether she still looked attractive even though she was already in her 40s. Minori then informed her that Kacho had brought a cow into the classroom. Ms. Natsumi asked Kacho for an explanation. Kacho explained that she was taking care of the cow because Mr. Mutsu from the ranch had gotten into an accident earlier that morning. Even so, Ms. Natsumi allowed Kacho to keep the cow there as long as she was confident she could handle it properly. Minori immediately protested. She argued that if Kacho was allowed to bring a cow into class, then she should also be allowed to bring a bunch of plants into the classroom to take care of them. The students from the farming division agreed with her and complained that the livestock division wasted too much of the school budget. Meanwhile, the livestock students fired back by saying that the farming students were always eating fruits and vegetables under the excuse of taste testing. Hearing the argument getting louder and louder, Ms. Natsumi begged everyone to stop fighting because she wanted all of them to get along as friends. Minori still refused to accept that idea because she thought the whole situation was ridiculous. The students kept arguing anyway. While talking about strange things, Ms. Natsumi suddenly remembered something that happened the day before. She shared a story about going to a family restaurant and ordering a bottle of wine. She said she ordered 2 glasses and told the waiter that one of them was for her boyfriend. She even made a toast and said the wine tasted great, although the whole moment felt a little awkward because she did not actually have a boyfriend at all. The classroom stayed completely silent after hearing her story, and none of the students reacted. After that awkward moment passed, Ms. Natsumi finally started the lesson. After school, while relaxing at the dormitory, Kozaku ate lunch together with Minori and Kei. He enjoyed the food so much that he even asked for another serving. Kozaku looked completely satisfied with the meal. Afterward, Kei turned on the television while Kozaku lay down and started wondering why humans cared so much about flavor when calories alone should technically be enough. He questioned why God created people that way. For a moment, Kozaku even wondered whether God actually existed at all. Still, deep down, he convinced himself that God must be real because God had given the world the idol Yuka. To Kozaku, Yuka was basically a goddess herself. Suddenly, Minori called out to Kozaku and told him to watch the television because there was major news being reported. The TV program then revealed shocking news that idol Yuka had officially announced her retirement. Kozaku was left completely stunned after hearing it. Many people could not believe Yuka's sudden decision to retire, and even at that moment, Kozaku still could not accept the reality of it. One day, the idol Yuka walked past a crowd of people, yet no one recognized her. That morning, Minori and Kei knocked on Kozaku's door to wake him up. Since Kozaku refused to come out, Minori asked Kei for the spare key. As soon as they entered the room, Minori was shocked to see Kozaku rolling around on the floor while hugging his body pillow. She could not understand what he was doing. Kozaku claimed that he had become one with the idol Yuka. Kei assumed that Kozaku was trying to cope with his shock by acting like Yuka herself. Minori scolded him and reminded him that he would fail if he kept skipping class. On top of that, he would never become a trendy farmer. Kozaku explained that the reason he grew vegetables was so he could send them to idol Yuka. Meanwhile, Yuka had just stepped off a train and was heading somewhere. Kozaku proudly explained that he had been sending the vegetables he harvested during class to Yuka. He mentioned sending her a large, shiny eggplant. Kei immediately called him a creepy stalker, while Minori thought he had completely lost his mind. Kosaku defended himself by saying that Yuka lived in Tokyo, where fresh vegetables were hard to find. Kei understood Kosaku's feelings and asked what else he had sent. Kosaku casually replied that he had also sent fresh, bumpy cucumbers. Hearing that, Kei became even more disturbed and threatened to report him to the police. Kei quickly told Minori they should leave before the police considered them suspects too. Kosaku continued explaining that there were still many things he wanted to send to his idol, including sweet corn, bitter melon, and mushrooms. Minori asked if he was doing all of this on purpose. Kosaku looked confused and wondered what was wrong with sending eggplants to his favorite idol. According to Minori, secretly sending things to a young girl was inappropriate. Embarrassed, Minori explained that eggplants and cucumbers could give people the wrong impression because of their shape. Kosaku still could not understand why people thought they looked inappropriate, and he kept asking Minori to explain it clearly. Unable to say it out loud, Minori became furious and smacked him in frustration. Kei was convinced that Kosaku knew exactly what he was doing. Minori then asked whether Kosaku had ever received a reply. Kosaku denied it because he had never written his name on the packages. Minori said she did not care whether Idol Yuka retired or not. What mattered was that Kosaku needed to attend class because it was his responsibility. Kosaku still refused and crawled back into his Yuka body pillow, praising Yuka for being kind, beautiful, adorable, and pure. Irritated, Minori muttered that maybe Yuka was not as perfect as he imagined. Hearing that immediately angered Kosaku, and he tried to charge at Minori. However, Minori effortlessly stopped him with a kick that left him writhing on the floor. She warned him that refusing to attend class would only cause trouble for everyone else. She even threatened to make the livestock staff deal with him if he kept acting up. At the same time, Yuka stepped out of a taxi and arrived at Tamo Agriculture High School. Pulling her suitcase behind her, she quietly walked through the campus grounds and past the fields. Nearby, Kosaku, Kei, and Minori were also there, while Kosaku continued sulking and refusing to work. That morning, Natsumi-sensei entered Class 2A of the production department. She excitedly announced that she had recently tried an extremely expensive essential oil treatment that supposedly made her skin smooth. She dramatically claimed that she had even poured cooking oil all over herself in hopes of getting baby-soft skin. She proudly posed for photos afterward, but seeing herself covered in oil in the mirror only made her regret her choices. None of the students reacted to Natsumi-sensei's story. She then announced that their school had a new transfer student, and according to her, the girl was unbelievably beautiful. The new student stepped into the classroom, instantly leaving everyone speechless. Even Kosaku admitted that she was far too beautiful to look like an ordinary high school girl. She looked sweet, adorable, and innocent. The girl introduced herself to the class, and her name was Ringo. Kosaku, Kei, and Minori met with their teacher, Natsumi, in her office and asked whether the new student, Ringo, was actually the idol Yuka. Natsumi answered that the answer was both yes and no. Meanwhile, the students in Class 2A of the Production Science Department were also asking Ringo whether she was the idol Yuka, but she denied it. She even avoided giving a clear reason when they asked why she had transferred to an agricultural high school. At that moment, Natsumi explained to Kosaku, Kei, and Minori that Ringo really was the idol Yuka, but she wanted to leave that identity behind and live as an ordinary student. Kei asked if that meant they were not allowed to reveal her past. Natsumi then asked the three of them to help Ringo adjust to school life and study. They were all surprised by the request. Minori wondered why it had to be the three of them. Natsumi explained that Ringo would be staying with them in the dormitory, and they were also in the same class. Hearing that, Kosaku realized it meant he would be spending both school life and dorm life together with his idol. His imagination immediately ran wild as he pictured spending every day with Ringo, sharing meals, hanging out together, and enjoying life side by side. Kosaku became so overwhelmed with happiness that he nearly lost control of himself. To him, it felt like he was living in heaven. That day, Kosaku introduced himself to Ringo. He also introduced his pet named Wakadana, which meant young master in Japanese. Kei wondered why Kosaku had suddenly started speaking in such formal language. According to Minori, it looked like Kosaku was trying to sound smart and sophisticated. Kosaku then guided Ringo around the school, showing her the main building, the sports area, the industrial promotion building, and the green shop where harvested products were sold. Throughout the tour, Ringo remained distant and expressionless. Before long, Ringo heard the sound of an animal. She thought it was a cat, but Kosaku explained that it was actually a peacock. Ringo looked at the peacocks inside their enclosure and commented that they seemed bored being trapped in cages. Kosaku enthusiastically gave a long explanation about peacocks, but Ringo stayed silent the whole time, making him wonder if she was getting bored. After that, they headed to the Wallaby house, where Wakadana lived. The enclosure was equipped with a special carpet and air conditioning, making it look far more luxurious than their dormitory rooms. Ringo asked whether a wallaby was a kangaroo. Kosaku explained that wallabies and kangaroos belonged to the same family. Kosaku admitted that Wakadana did not really like him at first. However, during the previous winter on Christmas Eve, Wakadana had escaped and ended up collapsed from the cold after getting lost. Kosaku found him and immediately carried him back to his warm room. From that day on, Wakadana would always come visit him whenever he seemed lonely. Ringo quietly listened to the story, making the atmosphere feel even more awkward. Kosaku quickly decided to take her somewhere else. They eventually arrived at the livestock barn. Kacho proudly showed them some Jidori chicken meat. She explained that Jidori usually referred to famous chicken breeds such as Henai, Nagoya Cochin, and Satsuma, but she personally raised her own special Jidori using Okumino Kojidori chickens. Kei accepted the meat and thanked Kacho for it. Hearing his gratitude immediately made Kacho nervous and flustered, causing her to speak awkwardly. Ringo commented that Kacho seemed strange, but Kacho quickly denied it and insisted that she did not care about Kei at all. Kosaku then asked whether Kacho still had any eggs available. He also asked whether fertilized eggs were more nutritious than unfertilized ones. Kacho immediately called Kosaku an idiot for asking such a question. According to her, there was no real difference in nutrition, although eggs from free-range chickens definitely tasted better than eggs from caged chickens. At that moment, Ringo gently tugged on Kosaku's sleeve and asked what an unfertilized egg actually was. She admitted that she did not understand what everyone was talking about. Kosaku was caught off guard by how innocent and adorable Ringo looked at that moment. He nervously asked Kacho how he was supposed to answer her question. Kacho told him to explain it himself, but Kosaku became extremely cautious because he saw Ringo as an innocent girl and did not want to confuse her. Kacho was surprised that Ringo had apparently never heard about fertilization before, so she decided to explain it herself. However, Kacho's explanation ended up being completely confusing and inappropriate, leaving Kosaku speechless at how badly she had explained it. After that, they went to see Ms. Natsumi to ask about the topic. Ms. Natsumi explained the story of Akadama, a legend about a man becoming dangerous if he went too far. Kosaku was shocked by the explanation. He tried to stop her because he thought the discussion was too inappropriate for an innocent girl like Ringo. Ms. Natsumi explained that she was only teaching them about reproduction. After hearing that, Kosaku admitted that Ms. Natsumi's lesson was actually very educational and useful. Later at the dormitory, Kosaku gave a welcome speech for Ringo's arrival at their school. They all had dinner together. Minori prepared a variety of dishes, but Ringo said that she was not used to eating large meals. Minori quietly whispered to Kosaku that Ringo seemed very cold and distant. Kosaku believed that Ringo was probably just nervous and naturally shy. Minori, however, thought that Ringo would have trouble making friends if she stayed that way, especially since teamwork was very important there. She suggested that Kosaku help Ringo feel more comfortable living in the dormitory. Kei then tried to lighten the mood by joking around in front of Ringo, but she still reacted coldly. When Kei attempted one of his ridiculous comedy routines, Kosaku immediately kicked him away before things got out of hand. After that, Kosaku invited everyone to play a game and asked Ringo if she knew any games they could all enjoy together. Ringo suggested playing the King's Game. In the first round, Ringo became the king. Kei secretly signaled that he had number 1, while Minori showed a sign for number 3. Kosaku assumed that meant Ringo had number 2. He then ordered number 2 to feed the king. Suddenly, Minori revealed that she was actually number 2. Kosaku was confused about how that was possible, but it turned out Minori's signal meant that Ringo had number 3 instead. Kei told them to continue the game anyway. Minori reluctantly fed Kosaku while Kei busily took pictures, making Minori feel embarrassed. Unexpectedly, Ringo snapped her stick into several pieces. In the next round, Kosaku became the king. Kei signaled number 2 while Minori signaled number 3. Seeing those signals, Kosaku quickly ordered number 3 to step in front of the king barefoot. To his surprise, Minori turned out to be number 3. Kosaku became frustrated, wondering why Minori had to be the one with that number. It turned out she had only been signaling her own number the entire time. Kosaku insisted that Minori follow the order anyway. Minori asked if he was really sure about it. She then pressed her foot against Kosaku's face while Kei enthusiastically recorded the moment. Minori called Kosaku a total pervert. Kei commented that any guy would probably panic in that situation. Kosaku was shocked when he noticed Ringo snapping her stick apart again. In the following turn, Ringo became the king once more. This time, nobody gave any hints about their numbers. She directly asked Kosaku what number he had. Left with no choice, Kosaku admitted that he was number 1. Ringo then ordered number 1 to call her by her first name from that moment on. After saying that, she smiled warmly at him. The next morning, Kosaku dreamed that he woke up resting on Ringo's lap. The dream startled him so much that he immediately fell out of bed. He later went downstairs and met Wakadana. Since it was Sunday, he could spend the whole day relaxing and playing with Wakadana. He even talked about his dream involving his idol Yuka appearing at school as Ringo. At that moment, Kozaku noticed Ringo standing in front of the washing machine. She wanted to do her laundry, but she looked completely confused. Kozaku was shocked to learn that Ringo had previously washed her clothes in a river. He joked that usually only Momotaro's mother washed clothes in the river like that. Kozaku firmly told Ringo that she should stop washing clothes in the river and use the washing machine instead. He carefully explained each step to her. He told Ringo to separate the clothes based on whether the colors might bleed and also by fabric type. Ringo then took out her laundry, which included her undergarments. Kozaku became flustered and wondered if Ringo was not embarrassed showing them to him since he was a guy. It seemed that Ringo did not really understand that kind of situation. She innocently asked where she should put them. Kozaku nearly panicked when he saw the undergarments right in front of him. He explained that delicate clothing like that should usually be washed by hand because the material was sensitive. Ringo admitted that she had never known that before. Kozaku realized that Ringo probably was not used to washing delicate clothes by hand, so he offered to help her with it. His face turned bright red as he nervously reached toward the laundry. Suddenly, Minori punched him right in the face. She accused Kozaku of acting suspiciously by trying to handle a girl's personal clothing. Ringo immediately defended him, explaining that she had been the one who asked for help. However, Minori remained convinced that Kozaku had tricked Ringo somehow. She claimed that she already understood Kozaku's personality well, while Ringo had only known him for a day or two. Hearing that made Ringo visibly upset, and she shot an angry glare toward Minori. Ringo stepped in to calm them down, wondering why the two of them were glaring at each other so intensely. Kozaku asked Minori to give back Ringo's underwear because the longer she held it, the dirtier it would get. Minori could not understand why Kozaku acted as if her hands were dirty. According to Kozaku, underwear was something pure and special, so it should not be treated carelessly. Minori was shocked that Kozaku seemed so obsessed with women's underwear. Kozaku told Minori to hand it over immediately. Unexpectedly, Minori gave him her own underwear instead. Kozaku accepted it, then immediately tossed it into the trash. He called Minori a liar and firmly stated that he only wanted the white underwear. The three of them started scrambling over the white underwear. Out of nowhere, Kei suddenly appeared and grabbed it. He explained that he had already heard about the white underwear and said that he would handle the situation properly. Kozaku and the others had no idea what Kei meant by that. At that moment, Kei showed them several different kinds of underwear and told Kozaku and Minori to pick one. According to him, their choice would reveal how much they understood about underwear. Minori chose a ribbon-style pair that she thought looked simple and cute. Ringo agreed that it looked adorable, and Minori became convinced that Kozaku would definitely like that kind of design. However, Ringo quietly whispered that the style was actually not that great, though Minori still stuck with her choice. Kozaku smiled and said that Minori did not really understand underwear at all. He explained that he would never choose any of the pairs in front of him because they were all brand new and had never been worn before. Hearing that made both Minori and Ringo blush in embarrassment. Kozaku continued by saying that many guys were interested in the mystery and imagination surrounding personal items, while brand new underwear felt far less meaningful to him. Kei added that used items usually lost their value, but underwear was different. According to him, the value did not come from the item itself, but from the meaning attached to the person who wore it. Hearing that, Kozaku and Kei shook hands in agreement. Kei then handed Ringo's underwear to Kozaku, saying that only Kozaku deserved to receive it. Minori looked annoyed while Kozaku became overly excited and brought it close to his face. Suddenly, Ringo looked furious. Kei then revealed that Kozaku had been fooled because the underwear did not belong to Ringo at all, but to Kei. Kei wondered why Kozaku had been so certain it belonged to Ringo when he himself had kept it tucked under his arm to keep it warm. After hearing that, Kozaku was horrified to realize that what he had smelled earlier was actually Kei's sweat. He broke down in despair, unable to believe something so awful had happened to him. Kozaku could not believe that Kei had tricked him like that, and tears formed in his eyes from pure disappointment. Kei explained that the value of underwear did not simply increase because of who wore it. Kozaku then asked what kind of value Kei was actually talking about. Kei answered that the true value came from the hidden meaning and imagination connected to it. Minori became even more confused by the entire conversation. Kei continued by saying that underwear was something usually hidden from sight, and that mystery was what sparked people's imagination. According to him, underwear only had meaning because it stayed unseen and rarely exposed. If it was always visible, then it would lose that special sense entirely. After that, Kozaku apologized to Minori for calling her underwear dirty. Minori also apologized because she felt that she did not understand what Kozaku and Kei were talking about. Seeing Kozaku and Minori getting along again, Kei decided to take Ringo's underwear back. Kozaku protested that it was unfair, but Kei smacked him lightly and told him that Kozaku already had his own special feelings in his heart. Those words deeply moved Kozaku. He realized that everyone carried their own personal feelings and attachments inside their hearts. Right after that, Kozaku suddenly suggested holding an underwear festival during spring. Surprisingly, Kei and Minori immediately agreed with the idea. Hearing such nonsense, Ringo called all of them idiots. She quickly grabbed her underwear and stormed off. And just like that, the underwear festival came to an end in only 5 seconds. Minori confidently claimed that she could handle it with pure determination. Kozaku had already warned everyone to wear clothes suitable for getting wet, but he was still shocked by what they actually showed up wearing. Ringo asked whether she had chosen the wrong outfit. Kozaku assured her that she looked cute, so her outfit was fine. What really bothered him was Kei's outfit instead. Kei casually explained that the clothes were popular where he worked. Kozaku kept rambling while criticizing the strange outfit. Kei then proudly revealed that he had bought it at Geisenman. Unexpectedly, the others praised Kei for having the confidence to wear something so unusual, and they even admired him for it. Kozaku felt that Kei's outfit was way too flashy, especially in front of girls. Things became even more unbelievable when he saw teacher Natsumi wearing a wedding dress costume. Natsumi playfully teased Kozaku and joked around in an overly dramatic way, making him extremely uncomfortable. Kozaku immediately told her to go home because her comments were far too much for him to handle. However, Natsumi kept teasing him non-stop and even joked about spending the night together. Kozaku could not understand why she acted that way at all. Minori became disgusted by Natsumi's behavior and quickly stopped her before things went any further. According to Minori, Natsumi's actions had clearly crossed the line. Kozaku thanked Minori for helping him out. Minori admitted that she was willing to do anything for Kozaku. Kozaku then asked Minori what kind of outfit she was wearing. Minori explained that it was a bloomer outfit. Kozaku wondered why she was wearing bloomers when their school only allowed mid-thigh skirts. Minori explained that she had received special permission from home just for that day. Kei commented that it had become rare to see anyone wearing bloomers anymore. Minori added that the bloomers actually belonged to her older sister. Kozaku honestly could not understand why Minori went as far as wearing sporty outfits like swimsuits, bloomers, and leotards. He commented that outfits like that could easily attract attention from boys. Minori immediately fired back, saying that Kozaku was the one acting inappropriate for paying so much attention to her outfit in the first place. Kozaku defended himself by saying that he had only noticed the bloomers. Without warning, Ringo opened her jacket and revealed that she was only wearing an old-style school swimsuit underneath. The students around her were completely stunned. Kei noticed that the swimsuit Ringo wore was a classic design from years ago. Back in its day, that style had been extremely popular because it allowed people to move freely and felt comfortable in the water. Kozaku admitted that he liked girls with a simple and natural style. Hearing that, Ringo quickly told him to stop staring at her. Kozaku immediately looked away and said that he could barely handle how cute the swimsuit looked on her. Ringo became embarrassed after hearing that and called Kozaku an idiot. Kozaku apologized and promised not to keep looking at her anymore. Minori grew irritated and stepped closer to Ringo. The two girls faced each other with tense expressions while trying to hold back their emotions. Kozaku asked them to calm down because everyone was watching. After that, he suggested that they finally begin the rice planting competition, and both Minori and Ringo agreed. As they prepared to start, Ringo looked surprised the moment her feet sank into the muddy rice field. Kozaku explained that the mud sticking to her legs was something people eventually got used to, and that farming could even become enjoyable once someone adapted to it. He then demonstrated the proper way to plant rice seedlings. Seeing his technique, Ringo praised Kozaku and said he was impressive. Kei also complimented Kozaku, saying his planting skills were even better than a teacher's. Kozaku proudly replied that people in his village often called him the Mud Man. Suddenly, Minori reminded everyone that she and Ringo were supposed to be competing, so Ringo should not receive too much help. Kei argued that it would not be fair because Minori had far more experience than Ringo, so allowing Ringo to learn only the basics should be acceptable. Minori finally agreed and asked Kozaku to teach her quickly. Kozaku then encouraged Ringo to try planting on her own. Ringo carefully placed the rice seedlings into the water, but Kozaku advised her to push them deeper into the mud. Ringo still seemed to struggle a little with the technique. Minori impatiently told them to hurry up and start the match before teacher Natsumi became even more exhausted waiting for them. Kei suggested that Kozaku guide Ringo directly by helping her movements from beside her. The idea instantly made Kozaku imagine himself standing very close to Ringo while teaching her step by step. Minori clearly disliked the thought after imagining it herself. Kei pointed out that Minori would probably not feel satisfied competing against a complete beginner who had no guidance at all. He then asked Ringo whether she minded receiving help from Kozaku. Ringo calmly answered that she had no problem with it. Kozaku looked shocked and asked if she really trusted him that much. Once he realized Ringo truly agreed, he became excited and quickly moved closer to help her. His heart started pounding nervously the moment he reached for her hand. However, just as he touched her, Minori intentionally interrupted them and demanded that Kozaku teach her how to walk properly in the muddy field instead. Unfortunately for her, Kozaku immediately refused. The competition was finally about to begin. Because Ringo was still a beginner, teacher Natsumi decided to give her a slight handicap at the start. Kei took the role of announcer, Kozaku became the commentator, and Natsumi acted as the referee. The moment the signal was given, both girls immediately began planting rice. Minori moved incredibly fast, rapidly closing the gap between them, while Ringo worked carefully and with full concentration. Kozaku noticed that Minori had amazing stamina and suspected that she was intentionally trying to pressure Ringo. Even so, the rows planted by Ringo were perfectly straight, showing how focused and determined she was. The students watched the competition with great excitement as the two girls continued side by side through the muddy field. When they reached the same position, Minori declared that she would no longer treat Ringo like an ordinary student from the school. Right after saying that, Minori sped up even more. Suddenly, Ringo's foot became stuck in the mud. She lost her balance and accidentally crashed into Minori. Ringo quickly apologized and explained that it had only been an accident, but Minori refused to let it slide. She immediately pushed Ringo down into the mud. Ringo became annoyed and mocked Minori in return, causing Minori to get even angrier. Before long, the two of them started arguing and splashing each other around in the muddy field. Kei and Kozaku were shocked that things had escalated so badly. They warned the girls not to damage the rice plants, but the chaos only grew worse. During the commotion, both Kei and Kozaku ended up getting caught in the crossfire and were sent flying backward into the mud themselves. The fight became so wild that even the nearby students were dragged into the muddy mess. After everything finally settled down, both Minori and Ringo seemed surprisingly satisfied. In the end, the intense competition unexpectedly became the beginning of a friendship between them. Ringo's arrival at the agricultural school brought many new experiences into Kozaku's life. One morning, while Ringo was washing her face in the bathroom, Kozaku was, as usual, chasing Wakadana after he left his room. At that moment, Kozaku caught sight of Ringo freshening up. To him, seeing Ringo living in the dormitory still felt like an unexpected discovery, and it left him fascinated. One day, the agriculture students were shocked to find their garden in complete disarray. It looked as though something had caused chaos throughout the area. Some of them had already expected something like this to happen, considering the garden had no real security measures in place. Kei asked whether anyone had witnessed what happened. Suddenly, Kacho stated that she was fairly certain that children were responsible. She claimed that she had seen several children wearing gray coats and running away while carrying vegetables. Kozaku asked when she had seen them. Kacho explained that she had spotted the children shortly after checking on the cows and heading home, sometime after 8 o'clock in the evening. She also pointed out bite marks on a cucumber that had apparently been dropped by the culprit. In Kacho's opinion, Kei should investigate the reason behind the incident. Some students even wondered whether the children might have been hungry. As Minori walked around examining the crops, she suggested that monkeys were the more likely culprits. Kozaku agreed with her theory. Kacho pointed out that the culprit had been moving on 2 legs. Minori responded that monkeys could also walk on 2 legs over short distances. Kozaku added that monkeys could even run while carrying watermelons. Kacho asked whether they had ever actually seen something like that. Kozaku shyly explained that he and Minori came from a farming village where encounters with animals were common. Their village even had dogs, monkeys, and pheasants. Kacho was surprised to hear that. The students gradually dispersed, relieved that the incident probably was not related to hungry children. Meanwhile, Kozaku quietly told Minori that he would think about a strategy for dealing with the situation later. Later in class, Kei led a meeting to discuss what they should do about the monkeys disturbing their garden. He asked everyone to take turns sharing their ideas. Minori suggested using electric fencing around the garden. Ringo wondered whether that would hurt the monkeys. Kozaku explained that the fence would not be lethal. Kacho agreed with the idea. Kei acknowledged that it was a reasonable plan, but the school did not have enough money to implement it, so the proposal was rejected. Next, Ringo suggested feeding the monkeys because they were probably hungry. Everyone was surprised by the idea. Minori understood the logic, since it would give the monkeys less reason to steal vegetables. Kacho also supported the proposal. Kei admitted that it was not a bad idea, but he believed the monkeys had access to plenty of food from trees and other natural sources. In his view, they were taking the vegetables because they wanted to, so simply feeding them would not solve the problem. Kozaku then introduced what he considered his ultimate plan. He claimed to have plenty of experience dealing with monkeys. He proudly revealed the device he intended to use, explaining that it was 30 times more powerful than the previous version and capable of activating multiple functions at once. Kacho thought it looked impressive. Kozaku switched the device on and aimed it out the window. Unfortunately, nothing happened. Confused, he wondered why it was not working. Minori suspected that the mechanism had lost pressure and offered to inspect it. However, just as she leaned in to take a closer look, the device suddenly discharged in her direction. Fortunately, no serious harm was done, but the plan was immediately abandoned because it was considered too dangerous. After that, Kacho presented her own idea, which she called the World Equality Plan. She argued that humans and monkeys were both primates, so she wanted to try communicating with them. The proposal was quickly dismissed because everyone considered it unrealistic. Finally, Kay proposed a hunting strategy. He believed there was probably only one troublesome monkey responsible for the damage, and removing it would solve the problem. Kosaku felt that targeting the monkey was not the best approach. Kay, however, argued that difficult situations sometimes required firm action. He mentioned that he knew someone with exceptional skills who could handle the matter. Kay then introduced a man named Junichi to Kosaku and the others. Innocently, Ringo asked who the older man was. Hearing that, Kosaku quickly stopped her from saying anything more. Kacho, meanwhile, questioned why Kay had brought the man to meet them. She had expected Kay to bring someone capable of helping with the monkey problem, but instead she felt he had brought an eccentric individual. Kay explained that Junichi was a sharpshooter. Junichi proudly claimed that he was the founder of the Uomori shooting art. Kosaku asked what kind of equipment Junichi planned to use. To everyone's surprise, Junichi's chosen tool was a rolled-up Moe Anime poster. Curious, Kosaku asked what kinds of animals Junichi usually hunted. Junichi admitted that his usual targets were enthusiastic fans at events, spoken in a joking manner. He also casually revealed that he was currently unemployed. That night, they kept watch in the orchard. Junichi prepared a tranquilizer to stop the monkey. Before long, a monkey appeared in the field. With a single shot, the tranquilizer successfully subdued it. They quickly approached the animal. Ringo felt sorry when she saw the monkey's injured hand, but Kosaku insisted that she did not need to pity it. Minore also reminded everyone that protecting the crops was their top priority. Suddenly, Kacho laughed and remarked that she was not sure whether the monkey had been abandoned because it was injured or injured because it had been abandoned. She also wondered why that monkey was the only one left behind. Kay asked Kacho to show some kindness to the monkey. Kacho explained that she had already thought about the monkey's future. She had contacted a friend who worked at a zoo and arranged for the monkey to be taken there and cared for properly. Since the zoo only had female monkeys, she planned to send it there so it could have a companion. Kosaku felt relieved after hearing that. Minori joked that the monkey would become the zoo's newest male monkey. Kay thanked Kacho and said everyone could always count on her. Hearing that made Kacho nervous, and she quickly replied that she was doing it for the monkey, not for Kay. At that moment, Kosaku glanced at Ringo, who still looked saddened by the monkey's injury. Later that night, Kosaku went to Minori's room because he wanted to discuss something with her. Minori immediately blushed and asked him to wait for an hour so she could tidy up her room.